Better Man here again. Another deck profile. This from our recent series of the Better Man v Pointystar Matt. Here is the Heraldic Beast I used.
That destroyed me.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
3 Leo. It's a mandatory search card. Who doesn't like mandatory searching? 3 Aberconway. Both Leo and Aberconway are the main beat sticks, unless you're Xyzing. 1800 attack, plus when you have multiples in the graveyard, you can get stuff back to your hand, always good, and it's a it's a searchable level 4 wind monster, which is decent for some later things. 3 Basilisk. Basilisk is your face down defense position monster that all decks seem to have anymore. He solves a problem. Any monster that battles with him is destroyed after damage, so it's during damage step, and which is really difficult and annoying to get around. If he's attacked, if he attacks, anything. If he's face down, if he's destroyed, if he's not, he just gets rid of any he can basically get rid of any monster. It also doesn't target. 2 Twin-Headed Eagle. Twin-Headed Eagle banishes itself to reattach for XYZ materials, and it's also a wind monster. Once again, it's just another Heraldic Beast searchable as well. That's it for the Heraldic Beasts. 3 Kagetokage. Considering I want to make a rank 4 about every turn I can, Kagetokage assists me and such. And it's searchable by King of the Feral Imps, which is just kind of nice, so yeah. And rounding up the monsters, 1 Traptrix Myrmeleo. It's pretty good. I mean, it's almost splashable. I only play the 1 Bottomless, but I do side deck 1 or 2 Traptrix Traphole Nightmares, so it's pretty live. The better way to use it is like Call the Haunted, getting it back and popping a spell card, and just getting any way to go plus in this deck is just great. And that's it for the monsters. Spells, 3 Advanced Heraldry Art. For those of you who don't know, this card is the best card in the game. Well, one of.
That's debatable.
The next card rivals it for that. It's an instant XZ from the graveyard. Take any 2 Heraldic Beast monsters in the graveyard, make any rank 4 XYZ. Kind of dumb. 2 the 7th ones. If Advanced Heraldry Art's not the most broken, this probably is. Because it says, here, have a free Chaos number. Chaos number of choice in this deck is C101. Pro player. Now everyone might tell you C107 is better. They're lying. Especially in a deck that can make so many rank 4s. Because 101 by itself is already good. But when you can play 2 101 and you can make C101, it's just dirty. C101. Yeah, so Xing like that. Also, this deck has enough discard outlets that you're not going to dead draw it if you've used it already or if it ends up in your opening hand. Continuing spells, 2 Mystical Space Typhoon for back row problems. 1 Heraldry Reborn. It's Monster Reborn for the Heraldic Beast monsters. The only reason it's at 1 is because I play so few monsters that it can often be dead, and Call of the Haunted's a little bit better than it in most situations, but it's still really good at 1. 1 Foolish, 1 Dark Hole. Foolish sends Leo or Aberconway if you need Aberconway's effect, and Dark Hole is pretty generic monster removal. Onto the traps. 3 Call the Haunted. If for the same reason the hands and the hat deck plays it, it's good in here. It helps make the XZ plays so much easier. A lot of monsters have effects when they're destroyed, so if they blind MST, I can Myrmeleo and get MST, or I can get Leo and Search. It's good at putting monsters on the board. Considering I can randomly pull out some 2K beat sticks, it works with number 80 to give an XYZ, 1200 extra attack. There's some really dirty plays because I have Twin-Headed Eagle if I revive an XYZ monster that I can give it some more materials, so it's pretty good. 2 Fiendish Chain. I only like Fiendish Chain over Breakthrough Skill in this deck because this deck has a problem with, you know, if you don't get any monsters, if your field gets wiped, it might be hard to get back, so you need to stop attacks as well as negate some of the effects. And so that's the only reason I prefer it over Breakthrough Skill in this situation. 2 Mirror Force. Mirror Force or D-Prison both work, but Mirror Force is really good in this deck because it generally has enough answers that you don't need Mirror Force unless you're getting a mass removal or you're pretty certain it's going to work. So rarely will the Mirror Force misfire in this deck, unlike a lot of other decks that's a problem and why you play Deep Prison over it. 2 Phoenix Wing Wind Whirlblast. Wind Blast, dang. I'm not going to ever be able to pronounce that right. Good card. Leo discards well. Twin-Headed Eagle, Aberconway, a Dead the 7th one. A good number of cards. You have a good number of discard outlets, so this card can put force dead draws. It's removal without destruction, so it's pretty good. Forcing a dead draw on a monster that can't be normal summoned, like say they have Dark Armed and they banish one dark monster, target this card, and I respond and put Dark Armed back on the deck. A lot of the times they can't just immediately summon Dark Armed again and they're forced to dead draw. And there's a bunch of just situations that you don't want to destroy. Bujin matchup especially, with all of their protection. Like hats you don't want to destroy, but you can put them back in the deck. A couple of XYZs, anything that prevents destruction. I've kind of rambled on for this too long, but really good card. 1 Raigeki Break, in case you do need to destroy something. Most often back row. 1 Xyz Reborn. I main deck this card because it's good. It's really good. Everyone likes free pluses, and almost all of these cards you see here get free pluses. So, you know. Hello, Exciton Knight. I can summon you during the battle phase with 1 card.
We don't need to have that dirtiness.
What? There's any problem that I have a whole toolbox in my graveyard to solve? Sure. I don't know why more people don't main deck this card. It's fun. Plus, C101.
That was fun.
I watched the part 1 of our duel video to see that play, but there's just so many plays where this card is the most annoying thing to have to deal with. And the staple 4, running out the deck. Because this deck needs you not to have things. Staple 4 traps, yay.
I know that well.
Yeah. Good cards. That's it for the main deck. Extra deck. A lot of 1-ofs. 1 number 8. Number 8 basically says if your opponent relies on XYZs, they're screwed. He takes any XYZs, puts its attack to 0, and gains its effects without detaching, so you can then detach for their effects. Really good card. You don't summon it nearly as often as you'd think, but if you need to close a game out, or your opponent has something dumb like 101, or Felgrand, or Kagetsuchi with protection, any monster that can protect, any XYZ monster that can protect itself, this card's a pretty good answer. King of the Feral Imps. Playing 3 Kagetokage means making King of the Feral Imps is a good thing. Anytime you detach with Leo, he searches. So all of these monsters with free detaches become +1s, or plus, and most of the time +2s. So he's a great first turn +2. In addition, there's also Lavalval Chain. Lavalval Chain basically puts Leo in the graveyard, as well as being able to stack the deck. It's another free detach. He's really only used to put Leo in the grave, but that's often a +2, so it's totally worth it. 1 Black Ship is Black Ship. 1 Dweller is Dweller. 1 Exciton Knight, and 1 Cowboy. All of those are your staple 1-ofs. Cowboy's especially good because Twin-Headed Eagle can mean he can do more than 1600 damage for protection, and or you can get more turns on Dweller with Eagle, so some nice things there. 1 Direwolf because Leo, or most of my monsters are targets beyond Direwolf, so he's a little bit better than normal, plus he's Direwolf. 1 Photon Papilio Operative. This card gets in damage against a lot of decks, and it's a good way to kind of see what you're fighting against. Even if you flip the arsenal, it still forces it into attack mode, meaning you should be able to run it over.
You mean armor, right?
Or yeah, armor.
That's
Gear armor, not arsenal, sorry.
would have low attack then. So.
Yeah. It also hits the hand so that you don't blindly run into them. In the mirror match, it makes sure you're not fighting a Basilisk. It's just really good at kind of seeing whether or not you actually want to attack that monster. Plus, oftentimes another free detach. 2 Lightning Chidori. I run 5 wind monsters, but Advanced Heraldry Art means making this card is so good. This card is another great XYZ. It's, again, removal without destruction, and upon its summon it gets rid of a face down card, and then you can detach to remove face ups. The face down card goes to the bottom, the face up goes to the top, often again forcing dead draws. allowing you to get like Kaiser Coliseum, put it back on the top of the deck, fill your field with monsters, and then when they draw Kaiser Coliseum, they cry. 1 Karen Gorin, the Anti-Luminescent Knight, another good XYZ that can get a free detach. Number 80 Rhapsody and Berserk, because I make enough XYZs, I can often get both effects off, and you can call the Haunted Hymn for a free boost to any XYZ monster. Plus, banishing out of the graveyard is pretty nice. 1 number 101, if at any point in the future I get a second one, I'm almost certainly removing Photon, Papilio-Operative, for the second one, because it is too good, especially with it. And 1 C101 for the 7th one. Best extra deck card, well, not at all. Exton Knight's better. Really, really good stuff. This card just answers so many removals. If it's destroyed, it comes back and you gain life points, and you can keep doing that. Xyz Reborn it as long as number 101 is in the graveyard. If you get it off the 7th one and it is destroyed, the 7th one, or game mechanics will put Shark in the graveyard so its effect will go off. If, you know, you can just keep stealing monsters. You can steal face down defense position monsters that have been special summoned. You can steal anything that's been special summoned. Attack position, defense position, effect, non-effect, anything. Stealing stuff is great. And even if you summon him back with no XYZ materials, if you summon him back on your turn, the only restriction is he has to have an XYZ material when he's destroyed, which means, you know, XYZ Reborn gives him something. His own effect gives him something. Twin-Headed Eagle gives him something. Like, there are just a million ways to guarantee he's sticking around for a long time. Thanks, guys. That's basically it for the deck. Yeah, Heraldic Beast.